Well, I don't have a cameraman. I don't have a camera. I don't even have a monopod. So I've got the opportunity to sit down and talk with Steve Kenson. We're here at the Green Ronin booth on the first day of Gen Con. And I'll tell you what, first of all, Steve, congrats. You got some primo real estate here.
Thank you. We lucked into this space right after the pandemic, as I remember, and have held on to it. So
Yeah,
worked out well for us.
I normally see Green Ronin up front, so
Yep.
I'm not surprised to see you towards you're at the front of the exhibit hall.
Yeah. Well, we've been doing this for 25 years. Now
Yes.
this is our 25th anniversary, so we've had an opportunity to work our way into some of the good spots at Gen Con.
Yes, because there is that point system and everything else that you got to earn those points. Okay, but nobody cares where the booth is at. Let's talk about the upcoming Kickstarter for Mutants and Masterminds 4th edition. First of all, when is that coming to crowdfund?
Well, we don't have any crowdfunding announcements about it yet. We are currently in a playtest phase for 4th edition. We are releasing a playtest edition of the game. It's essentially a beta playtest that we're releasing in PDF and a very limited print run that's going to be available through our online store. And that, what we're calling the Origin Edition, is essentially a beta version of the game. We're going to have that available for M&M fans, and we're going to have a couple of months following its release in August and September as a playtest window for folks to give us their feedback on how things play. We're going to have surveys and a bunch of questions about the key things that we're looking to get feedback on. And then...
So wait a second, Steve. Are you trying to tell me that Green Ronin cares about what their fans think?
Yes. Shocking though it may be, we have always really benefited from having a really active and engaged fan base. Our players are really smart, creative people who know our games better than anyone. So we really value their feedback. And the way that this edition of the game developed allowed us this opportunity to play test. And so we wanted to take it. Oftentimes, there isn't nearly as much development time or much of an opportunity to provide this kind of feedback. And so we really wanted to capitalize on it by offering the opportunity for our community to get involved. So once they've got their hands on either the print or the PDF version of the Origin Edition, they will have an opportunity to give us their feedback. We will incorporate that into the final draft of the product that's going to go into production for next year. And the current plan is to release the 4th edition of Mutants and Masterminds in the second half of 2026.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about M&M, because I don't know, you're the designer.
Sure.
So the first question I would ask, which I'm sure is on some folks' minds out there, would be, there's quite a few superhero role-playing games out there on the market, of variety of complexity levels as well.
Yep.
So why would someone turn to Mutants and Masterminds as opposed to, say, Marvel's their multiverse, or Tiny D6, or of course you've got the venerable Champions out there.
Yep.
So what makes M&M different?
The key things that I hear from players and fans about M&M's strengths are that it is a really flexible and customizable system for hero creation. Our point-based character creation with a variety of different power effects, skills and advantages and other traits really put the power into the player's hands to create exactly the kind of character they want. And
in a superhero role-playing game, that's super important.
Absolutely, because superhero characters are just all over the map, obviously, in terms of their abilities, their powers,
their
their
power level,
level, and the like. So a system needs a tremendous amount of flexibility in order to be able to handle those kinds of characters. And there are a lot of different approaches to it, but Mutants and Masterminds approach is a fairly detailed one that provides a lot of tools for the players to create the kinds of characters they want. Because Mutants and Masterminds grew out of the open game license, working with the D20 SRD back in the early 2000s, M&M also has a really familiar feel to its core mechanics. It's a D20 roll plus a modifier versus a difficulty class for basically everything in the game, including the way we handle damage and pretty much everything else. So it's a game that you only need one D20 to play. The mechanics, for anybody who has come up on D&D or other D20 based games, are going to be very familiar in a lot of ways. And so it provides that fairly easy onboarding in terms of gameplay. If you know how to play similar games, you're going to pick up Mutants and Masterminds really easily.
Segue right on in.
Yep, absolutely. And of course, our game books and our setting material for Mutants and Masterminds is really, we have a really rich setting in our Earth Prime setting, and I think that we produce some really good-looking books. Our production manager, Hal Mengel, does a fantastic job laying out the books, in hiring artists, and so we just have really beautiful-looking books, in my opinion, and I think that alone, comic books are such a visual medium,
Of course.
that that really enhances the experience of being able to read and play the game.
One thing I've noticed over the years, because I've shared news from Green Ronin for quite a long time now, although I've never actually gotten the opportunity to take a peek, like close up at any of the games. One thing I've always noticed is M&M seems to have a really solid amount of support and supplemental material.
Yeah.
Which these days, that's extremely important.
It is, and we have tried to recognize what the needs of our community are, and in the past few years, we have focused a good amount of our attention on our Astonishing Adventures line, in order to provide a real variety of ready-to-run adventures for the game. Right now, we probably have a catalog of a couple of dozen different Astonishing Adventures, and we plan on continuing that going ahead into the new edition, so that we recognize that these days a lot of game masters just don't have the time to design a lot of adventures from scratch. And they want things that they can take and modify and customize to their players and their own game.
Sure.
But still have those resources available to them, so they don't have to make everything out of whole cloth.
With the new edition that you're playtesting, what are some of the major changes from the current edition?
There are relatively few what I would call major changes. A lot of the 4th edition is going to be applying our experience for the past 14 years that 3rd edition has been in print. It's been by far the longest running edition of Mutants and Masterminds. And we've racked up a lot of miles on it. We've gotten a lot of feedback over the years. We've had a lot of play experience ourselves. And it's been an opportunity to address just a whole series of little tune-ups and things that we'd like to fix, of like, this could be better.
A tweak here, a tweak there.
A tweak here and there. And there's a tremendous amount of that that goes into the new edition. There are some significant changes. Some of them harken back to the 2nd edition of the game in some regards. So, for example, we are condensing the primary set of attributes from 8 to 6, and shifting the roles of a couple of those attributes to an attack and a defense trait that just summarize the character's overall combat abilities that were spread out among those abilities in third edition. And that is an approach much more like second edition, and we feel in some regards maybe simpler for folks who are just being introduced to the game, to have just a straightforward, you can look and here is, the character's attack ability, here's their defense ability, and you don't have to necessarily figure those out from other things. The playtest edition introduces a reaction option in the action economy, which is similar for folks who are familiar with D&D to the reaction option there that characters get once per round. And that opened up a really interesting design space for the game in terms of character actions, in terms of advantages that were related to it, and in terms of powers that were related to it. And determining what your character's reaction is going to be during their round becomes an interesting and significant choice. And it definitely plays into some types of characters and the way that they will play. And it also allowed us to set up an option that we're calling the menace option for villains right now, which is sort of the opposite of the minion option, which is basically to say these villains are fairly easy to defeat. They're intended to be, a horde that the heroes will mow a path through fairly easily.
Kind of mooks.
Yeah, the henchmen type of characters. The menace option is intended for really significant, especially solo villains. And one of the things that it does is it gives that character bonus reactions based on the number of opponents they're facing. So when a menace is taking on a hero team, the villain gets a bunch of extra reactions that they can use to take specific actions to sort of counter or react to what the heroes are doing. And in early playtest, it works really well in terms of addressing the action economy of a lot of heroes against one opponent, as well as it just really reflects the way a lot of it plays out in superhero comics and animated shows and things like that, where you'll see a hero will do something, the villain will do something, and back and forth, rather than the villain gets one action and then the heroes all get a bunch of actions.
Right. They get the dog pile.
Right.
Last question I've got for you, Steve.
Yeah.
What is the one aspect that you are most excited about for the new edition of Mutants and Masterminds?
Oh, gosh.
I unleashed that one on you.
Yeah, it's super nerdy, but there is an adjustment to the scaling. Mutants Masterminds uses a logarithmic scaling for a lot of its traits, and I found an adjustment in the logarithmic scaling of distance and the way it works that actually had a cascade effect of fixing a whole bunch of other things, and it's just a nerdy design thing that made me really happy. So I'm super happy with it, and I think that it overall benefits the game. I don't know that anybody else will notice it all that much.
But you're excited
but
about
I'm
it.
very,
That was the question.
But I'm
right?
very excited about it.
Steve, thank you very much for taking some time out
Yeah.
here. First day at Gen Con. It is crazy. It's rocking and rolling as it always is.
Yes, indeed.
And I'm sure I will be chatting with Green Ronin Publishing in the future when the crowdfunding project rolls in.
Whenever any news is happening, we'll be looking forward to talking to you.
Sweet.